Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good day and welcome to the show on this Monday, the 19th of April, 2021. Glad to have you guys here. Thank you for tuning in. Now, I don't want you guys to get the wrong idea. Um, I was talking about yesterday about weight, overweight, being overweight. I was talking about the people that are 10, 20 pounds overweight and stuff, and they get a little bit of chubby, a little bit extra fat. It's not a real big problem for them, you know. But some of you guys out there, maybe in my audience, I don't know, really seriously overweight. I mean, a quarter-mile walk out to get the mail, or whatever back is too much for you. You get panting and puffing it. I mean, maybe you're 100 pounds overweight or 50 pounds overweight or even a 200 pounds overweight. That's not okay. That's not okay. So I'm going to do the market report today. And then I'm going to do a special show once the market report's ended, you know. Uh, and I'm going to talk about how you can get that weight off for the first time in your life. A simple, easy method. All you have to do is follow it, where you can not diet. You don't have to diet. And the weight will very slowly come off. It'll reverse the trend for people who are really seriously overweight, right? Has been all their life gaining a little bit more, like every year, a little bit heavier, maybe 20 pounds heavier a year, and they keep adding it on year after year after year. And it's always up. It's always up a little bit. And they'll do a diet, and that makes it go up even faster. Um, and it's a serious problem for them. They don't know how to stop it. It just keeps adding more weight on. It keeps getting heavier and heavier. This will reverse that trend. So that it goes very slowly in the opposite direction, without dieting, without starving yourself. Okay, I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to go into great detail about that. At the end of this show, I'm going to do a show on that. Okay? And so let's get started with the markets now. Let's open up the charts right here and take a look at what's going on out there in the markets. 25.79 for the price of silver today. It's down 16 cents. Now, an awful lot of people out there in my audience stack silver. Maybe a small amount, maybe a large amount. This has been a really hard go over the last number of years. Down 16 cents today. It'll make these gains, a little bit of a gain. You start to think, hey, we're going to get somewhere with this and everything. And then boom, it comes back down again. It never seems to get off the launch pad, and it's really, really discouraging. Silver and gold, their performance. But I can't help but think in the future, because of all this money creation, that when it finally really gets going and gets a fire under it, gold and silver, it's going to be absolutely spectacular what it's going to do. But we've seen that already with cryptocurrencies, these gains, massive gains in cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is already now, what's cryptos? Well, first we got to take a look at gold today. Gold is down $3.60 at 17.72. What's cryptocurrency doing? We're looking at a price here, a cryptocurrency of 2037 billions, and we're looking at a Bitcoin price of 55,576. It took a little hit in the price, cryptocurrencies did, but I think it's going to start to heat up again after a little bit. I don't think this rally's over yet, because I haven't seen the shifts in the what happens is you see a series, generally toward the end of a cryptocurrency rally, you see a series of shifts in the Bitcoin to the altcoin ratio. And I haven't really seen that yet. So that's something that I really look for in the cryptocurrency space, is the ratio of Bitcoin, the Bitcoin dominance ratio, and what it does just toward the end of a rally. Generally what happens is there's a shift back and forth there. What happens is generally they shift heavy into the altcoins when you're in the very center of the rally, which is what they've been doing, and the Bitcoin dominance falls, and then toward the end of the rally, they shift back toward Bitcoin again, as they trade off altcoins for Bitcoin again, because well, I look for that shift. Let's take a look now at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It's down today, over 100 points, 34,092 today. Let's take a look at crude oil. 63.35 today. It's up 22 cents for crude oil. Crude oil is starting to get kind of high. Now let's take a look at the MOVE index today. 62.57 and going along kind of sideways. Bonds and rates. We're looking at the long end of the yield curve rising, the middle of the yield curve falling just a little bit, and the short end rising. We're looking at a U.S. 10-year at 1.59. It's up 2.3 basis points, and the U.S. 30 years at 2.28, and it's up 2.6 basis points. Now, I'll tell you what I think these bonds are going to do. I think they're going to very slowly rise toward the end of the year. And I think we're going to see a U.S. 10-year somewhere around 2%, more or less, toward the end of this year. We're definitely going to see sustained inflation. Now, I know that the Fed and everything, they say that this inflation is only a temporary thing. It's just a very short little glitch or whatever, but I think it's going to be more serious. It's going to become far more entrenched than they could ever imagine, the inflation. And I think we're already moving in that direction toward the inflation becoming entrenched. And then growing a lot worse, as things progress. They're going to need more and more stimulus later. Because as prices go up and everything, and wages aren't keeping up, they're still going to have this massive group of people out there. And we are starting to go into that recovery I talked about. And the banks are going to start lending soon. We went through a poor period of lending where the banks have withdrawn credit. And that period is offset the stimulus that the Fed's been doing to a certain degree. Because the biggest money creators are the banks. And if the banks start lending and start extending credit, then that increases the money supply quicker than the Fed. So you get two things compounding together. You get the banks starting to lend credit out more, and the Fed stimulating at the same time, and that really starts to heat up the economy. But not only heat up the economy, it really starts to make prices move, Let's take a look now at the U.S. dollar index, 91.11. And the dollar is falling today. We're looking at a fallen dollar today. Okay, guys. As promised, let's move into that part of the show where I'm going to talk about weight and weight loss. I'm going to explain just the dynamics of what really makes what makes you gain weight so bad. Anyway, let's get into it. Okay. First thing we're going to talk about is the stomach and how the stomach works. You know what your stomach basically is? It's a stretchy bag. It's got a couple tubes attached to it, one on one side and one on the other. And what it does is it emulsifies the food back. It breaks the food down. Okay, but it's basically a stretchy bag. There's certain types of tissue on your body that are very stretchy. Your bladder, for instance. And that feeling where you need to go to the bathroom, you need to urinate, and your bladder gets really, it'll stretch. Your bladder can stretch far beyond what you can imagine. When you feel like you need to urinate, people can hold that for a long period of time, and the bladder can even stretch double that size. The bladder is a very stretchy organ. There's other stretchy things, stretchy material or stretchy things on your body, like your different types of tissue that you have. Some tissues will tear. They're not made to stretch, but your stomach is one of the stretchiest organs on your body. Picture an elastic band. Okay? You know how elastic band can really stretch. Okay, that's like the tissue in your stomach. It can stretch. And an awful lot of people out there, what they've done is they've actually stretched their stomach. So their stomach is abnormally large. Now, close your fist right now. A closed fist, your fist, is the size your stomach should be. Now picture that amount of food on a plate. If you that closed fist on a plate, it's not that much food, really. That's how much food should fill your stomach. But what's happened is some people out there, they've stretched their stomach to the point where their stomach can hold 10 times, 20 times that amount of food because the stomach will accommodate it. But the thing is the stomach goes along with a feeling of being full as well. So now if your stomach is stretched abnormally large from eating abnormally large meals, you can eat the amount of food that would be equivalent the size of your fist, and you wouldn't even barely feel it in there because your stomach is so stretched. So what they do is they do something called bariatric surgery. Different types of bariatric surgery where they will do things. I'm sure you've all heard about it. They might try to staple off the stomach, or they might try to suture the stomach. They have different forms of bariatric surgery where they try to reduce the size of the stomach back down to a normal size again for people that are extremely overweight. And this operation is, for a lot of people, has been very successful. But, just like an elastic band will shrink back to its normal size if you're not stretching it, your stomach has the capability of actually shrinking back on its own to a more normal size. But people that are severely overweight, there's one thing that an awful lot of them share in common. Take a hamburger, for instance. They're hungry. They're really hungry. They feel that intense hunger pains in their stomach. So they go out for a hamburger. And they grab the hamburger and they start eating it. And because they're so hungry, and that hamburger tastes so good, they're actually swallowing it very, very quickly. They're chewing it, and an awful lot of the pieces of meat and pieces of the bun are getting mushed up and with their teeth, but they're swallowing big chunks of meat. They're swallowing big chunks of the bun that have not been completely chewed, and it's going down to the stomach, and it's filling the stomach up very quickly. They gobble through their fries, and they're eating it very, very quickly. This is the thing. And an awful lot of people that are severely overweight, this is one of the things they share in common is when they get hungry, they're able to eat very, very rapidly. Doesn't matter what type of food they're eating. I used hamburgers as an example, but they're able to eat very, very rapidly. This is a trait that most of them share in common. Now, your stomach has a period of time where it doesn't really feel that satiated feeling of fullness. There's a little bit of a time delay there. Nature has put that time delay in there for a reason. It's part of nature's way of ensuring the survival of the species, a time delay so that a hungry animal or a hungry human in the primitive environment, if they find a large quantity of food or something, that they'll eat an enormous amount of it before they'll feel that satiation or that fullness in their stomach. There's a delay there. That delay's been put in for a purpose by nature. Just like everything else, just like the fat you store on your body is put in there by nature to naturally survive you through a period of famine. Well, that delay that's in your stomach, between the brain and the stomach, when the brain says the signal, I'm full, has a delay in it that's been put in there by nature so that you'll eat enough of whatever it is that you've stumbled across. So picture a human possibly in an environment that's not like ours where the food is provided for them, but a hunter-gatherer sort of environment. And they stumble across a large food supply. Well, the body knows that that food might have to last some days. They might have to walk 20 miles before they find another food supply, and the body will give them a delayed hunger signal so that they can overfill their stomach so they'll have enough to last them. Now, can you imagine what it would be like if that signal was immediate? That signal of being full, and they went and they ate there, and they only ate a small amount, and then they didn't have enough in their stomach to last them, say, a 20-mile hike before they would find more food. So nature put that there for a reason. But it's that's what tells a person to stop eating, is that feeling of fullness. When you feel full, you feel like stopping eating. And when a person that's severely overweight, possibly even morbidly obese, feels extremely hungry, they will eat until they feel that sensation, I'm full. And then finally they say, well, I'm full now. And they pat their belly and, I feel better now. And I'm not hungry like I was before. But what's happened is because they're eating so quickly, and because there's that delay in that feeling of fullness, they've packed the stomach full of food to the point where it's not the size of their fist anymore. It's many multiples the size of their fist. And the bag inside their stomach is actually stretched like an elastic band. It's stretched. And they get used to doing that. And they tend to do that in a cycle. Day after day after day, they repeat that same cycle because they've ate so much food, generally it's around supper time, that by the next morning there's still actually food in there because the body only has to consume the food. It's just like your car, you know, if you fill your tank right up full, well, that's going to last a while. And that's the same way with them. They filled their tank up very full with a lot of food. There's still some in there the next morning. So, no, they don't feel like breakfast. Generally, they skip breakfast. And generally, the first meal that they'll actually have, they start to become ravenously hungry again. And they repeat this cycle over and over and over again, day after day after day, week after week after week. And then finally, they say, I'm going to go on a diet. Okay? Now, there's something you need to know about diets. Diets inherently will slow your metabolism down. And if your diet is successful, the more successful your diet is, the more of the diet will slow your metabolism down. It's a thing from nature again, to prevent you from losing weight too fast, being as your body doesn't know. The body thinks, hey, we're starving. We better slow the metabolism down. So that's what it does. And this slowing of the metabolism lasts for a couple months after the diet is over. So the person plans on going on a diet. I'm going to lose 10 pounds. This is their plan, right? And it's going to take me 2 weeks. And they've planned that out before they even start their diet. So they're successful. 2 weeks goes by, they've lost the 10 pounds. Well, the diet's over now. Now I can eat again. The problem is the body doesn't know the diet's over. The body's slowed the metabolism down. And that's going to last for a couple months. So the diet lasted for 2 weeks. Their metabolism's going to be slow for 6 more weeks before the metabolism says, okay, we're back to food again. Now we'll speed the metabolism back up. Now, during that 6-week period after the diet's over and the metabolism is extremely slow because the diet slowed it down, they continue to go out and eat. They start to eat again because they figure, well, the diet's over. Well, they gain that weight back. It takes about a month to gain the weight back that they lost, the 10 pounds. Now they're right back where they started again. But the body has still got another 2, 3, 4 weeks more of slow metabolism. And during that period in time, they generally end up gaining about 5 more pounds. So at the end result is, yes, they lost the 10 pounds, but they gained back 10 more plus 5 more on top of that. So now they're 5 pounds heavier than before they started the diet. And that's what diets do. So now you're probably asking yourself, what's the secret? Well, the secret is so simple, but it's actually so complex. You can eat whatever you want, wherever you want. You don't have to count calories anymore, right? But you are going to have to use discipline to do this, what I'm going to tell you about. You're going to have to use discipline. And it's not going to be easy at first, but once you get used to it, it's a lifestyle change that you can continue with the rest of your life. And your weight will slowly decrease if you do this. One simple thing. And you won't be suddenly putting on the brakes and slowing your metabolism down like a regular diet. Your metabolism will still continue going along the way it's been going, but your weight will start to reverse. But it's not going to be a very quick process. It's going to be a reversal. It's slow, and it takes time. But that's the way you really want to lose weight and keep it off. You want to lose like 2 pounds a month or 3 pounds a month. But you're going to see the results if you follow this for like a whole year. Then at the end of the year, and don't sit there weighing yourself every day. You don't have to. It's the sort of thing where if you follow this very, very religiously, if you follow this very strictly and you do it exactly like I tell you, at the start of the year and at the end of the year, you're going to notice a substantial weight loss if you're strict about it. But it's so simple. You say, well, that could never work. But yes, it will work. It will work, and it'll work for you. And it has worked for me. Because I used to have a bit of a weight problem. And I follow this to a certain degree on a regular basis, and it helps keep me from gaining weight. And I'm not quite as strict with it maybe as I should be, but I'm not extremely overweight. If I was extremely overweight, if I was like 100 pounds overweight, I would be extremely strict with it to reduce my weight. But it's going to require a lot of, I'm going to get to it. I'm going to tell you what it is. But I'm going to tell you, it's going to require you to follow it strictly if you're maybe 100 pounds overweight or something. And it'll get you down, back down in weight. Here's what it is. It's the speed you eat at. And I'll tell you what you need to do. You need to stop eating with a tablespoon. And you need to be careful how much you put on your fork. You need to reduce the size of your mouthfuls down to maybe a little bit over a teaspoon size mouthful. And you need to slow it down. You need to, when you first start this program, you need to count your chews. So, if you get a hamburger, for instance, and you go to the restaurant, instead of eating it the way everybody else does, you know, they grab the hamburger with both hands and they put it up to their mouth and take a big chomps out of it. Don't do it that way anymore. Get your fork and get your knife, slice it up into little squares. Take your fork and start to enjoy your food rather than swallowing it in big chunks, meat pieces. I use a hamburger as an example. This will work on any kind of food that you're using. Taste your food. Start to savor your food. Start to enjoy your food. Let your saliva do its job. One of the things that's going to happen is when the food gets in your stomach, your digestive process starts in your mouth. And you're already going to be, your stomach, you're not going to have that indigestion like you normally have. After a big meal, normally you get tremendous indigestion, you get heartburn, you get acid reflux, you get gas. That'll start to go away, and you'll start to have a much calmer stomach. Slow it down, not just a little bit. Slow it down massively. That's the first thing you need to do. And you need to start counting. At first, you got to count your chews. 1, 2,000. Count up to 30 each time, each mouthful. A little small mouthful. You're not going to be used to this at first. But taste the food. Swish it around in your mouth. Make sure it's all completely emulsified and it's all completely chewed to the point where it's really chewed good before you finally swallow it. Then this is how the diet works. And each time after, take a mouthful of water. Just a small mouthful, not a big mouthful. And use that to help the food down. That's going to help break down the food particles in your stomach, and it's going to give your stomach something to work with in order to break down them food particles in your stomach. And do it after each mouthful. Take a little sip of water. If you're on the Diet Cokes, that stuff's nothing more than very bad. It's very bad. I'm not going to say what it's like, but it's very bad. So a lot of the really big people out there love their Diet Cokes, love their Diet Pepsis. Gotta watch out for that. Okay. Now, the next part of this is your water temperature. You know what? An ant's crawling behind me. Your water temperature. Try not to drink ice water anymore. Ice water is very hard for your stomach and your digestive process. Try to drink lukewarm water with your meal. Try to drink water with your meal, not soda pop. This is important. And take a small mouthful of water after each bite. And this is going to start the digestive process. And now there's one more part to this diet I got to tell you about. I want you to be so slow at eating that people comment on you. They say, he's the slowest eater, or she is the slowest eater I know. Now, here's the next part to this. See, there's more than one part to this. It works as a unit. You got to do every part of it the right way. Otherwise, the whole thing isn't going to work. It'll all fall apart if you don't do it the correct way. The next part of this is you got to be in tune with your body. This is the biggest key. The biggest component of this of all is being in tune with your stomach. You got to do like a Zen thing, like if you ever seen these guys, they like on Star Wars, they said, use the Force, Luke. This is what you're going to start to do. You're going to start to be in tune with your stomach. Sensitive to how your stomach feels. You're going to let your stomach tell you. I mean, how many of you out there drive your car and never look at the gas meter? The gas gauge? Well, any of you that do that and never look at the gas gauge, what's going to happen to you? Your car's going to run empty and you're going to be on the side of the road. So you all look at your gas gauge, but not hardly anybody out there pays any attention to how their stomach feels. Your stomach is your gas gauge. And this is the most important part of the diet. Now, because you're eating so slowly, you're going to give your stomach that period of time it needs to adjust to the food that's in it and give you these signals of how it feels. So about 10 minutes after you start eating, or maybe 15 minutes after you start eating, using this very slow process of eating and enjoying your food, savoring your food. You can eat whatever you want on this. No counting calories anymore, none of that stuff anymore. Eat whatever you want, but you're going to slow it way down. And you're going to drink water with it after each mouthful, and you're going to make sure each mouthful is completely emulsified. But now the next part of this is you're going to be in tune with your stomach and how your stomach feels. Very sensitive. After you've ate for about 10 minutes, start to feel your stomach after every mouthful and say to yourself, how's my stomach feel? And when you first get that signal, maybe after you're eating for about 15 minutes, you're going to get a signal from your stomach. And it's going to start to feel like, hey, I've had something to eat now. I feel it's going to be a good feeling. Not an overfull feeling, but a feeling like you're satisfied. When you get that feeling, this is where the behavioral modification comes in. You stop eating. I don't care if your plate's half full of food and you've only ate half of it and everybody's looking at you and saying, aren't you going to eat that? Are you going to eat that? You know, that's what they'll say. Or you should finish your plate, maybe somebody will say. That doesn't matter. This is behavioral modification. You're going to push the plate away. Or if you're in a restaurant now, maybe you're used to ordering 2 burgers and 2 fries before. And now you finish the 1 burger and you finish the 1 fries. You still got one that you haven't opened yet, and the fry you haven't opened yet, right? And you get that feeling, hey, I used to eat both of these and I'm still hungry. Now I've ate 1 burger and I've ate 1 fry and I'm feeling that. I'm not feeling hungry anymore. I'm feeling kind of full. I got I got all that liquid in there and I got all that fries and burger in there and now I'm feeling satisfied. Stop! You don't have to eat that extra burger. You don't have to eat that extra fries you used to eat. Put them in the bag. Take them with you. And maybe you didn't even completely finish the first burger. So what? You can eat it later. You can eat later again. Now, it works the same way in reverse. Now, you've left the restaurant, and you're feeling pretty satisfied, but you're not feeling overfull anymore like you used to. You're just feeling very satisfied, right? Now you got to tune in again when your stomach feels the hunger pain. Sends you the next signal. And that's going to probably come an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours after you've ate. You're going to get a signal again from your stomach. It says, I'm hungry. Don't ignore it. It's time to go get something to eat. I don't care if it's only an hour after you ate. Carry a snack with you. And do the same thing. Eat it very slowly. Slow the heck down. This is the key to success. And always drink. Make sure your food's fully emulsified before you swallow it. And always drink liquid with it. Yes, you can have the occasional soda pop, and you can have the occasional juice if you want. But make your primary source of liquid water, and don't go for ice water. If you got a cooler at work, mix it half and half. Like take half ice water, half hot water, and make a lukewarm water to drink. That's what your stomach will like the best. And you can fit this in with your lifestyle very, very easily. What I've told you about. And you'll see it'll work. It'll work better than anything you've ever tried before. Because you're not depriving yourself any longer. But it's going to take very serious effort on your part and determination to always remember to do this, especially at first, until it gets to be ingrained in you to do it this way. Now, you ever seen, there's always one person in your family that eats that way already. People might make fun of them. They're so slow. Such a slow eater, You're going to become that person. But it's not going to be easy. Because your initial inclination is you're going to go and you're hungry. And you're going to want to stuff it down like you normally stuff it down as fast as you can. You're going to have to stop. Hey, wait a minute. I got to do it my new way. I got to eat with a teaspoon, and I got to eat extremely slowly, and I got to taste my food and enjoy my food from now on. And don't care how long it takes. Yes, you're going to be eating for a longer period of time than you ate when you were fat. Back when you were fat, you only ate for like 15 minutes. But boy, you filled her up quick. Now, I'm going to give you one more example before I quit on this. I used to have a truck, a Ford Ranger truck. And it had something wrong with the gas tank. Right? And you couldn't put the gas in at normal speed for some reason. The pump would click off on you. You had to kind of trickle it in, just trickle it in. And quite seriously, to fill that tank from empty took 15 minutes. But it would fill. Never did fix that problem in that truck. I used it that way. But you had to be patient putting the gas in. And that's the way I want you guys to be. You're going to have to be patient. It's going to take you longer to eat. You used to eat and fill right up from empty. And overfill. And put tremendous amount of food in that tank in 15 minutes. Now it might take you a half an hour to eat. And other people might get done ahead of you. But I want it to be so that you're only eating a small amount, less food than them, in that whole half an hour. And just think about it. You're going to get a whole half an hour to enjoy your food where they've already ate and done. You're still eating. Waiting for that signal to come from your stomach that tells you, hey, I'm satisfied now. And on this too, think about it. You're going to be able to eat whatever you want. You're going to be able to have that chocolate bar or that soda pop if you want it, or a hamburger or fast food or junk food or whatever. But slow it down to unreasonable. To be successful at this, slow it down to it's almost unreasonable how slow you eat. Like when you're eating peanuts. Say you're having a snack and you're going to eat peanuts. Don't even eat them one peanut to a time. Separate the peanut in two halves. And eat the one little half of a peanut and chew it all up really, really good. And emulsify it before you swallow it. So you can have your snacks watching TV. You can have your popcorn from now on. Don't even eat a whole one popcorn. You know, other people shovel it in their mouth, take a great big handful, and they shovel it into their mouth. And no, that's not the way I want you to do it. The way you to do it, just take one little popcorn, bite it in half, chew it up really good, and taste it and savor it, and then have the other half, and you can sit there and eat them. But just think, it might take you 15 minutes to eat the same amount of popcorn as that other person in that whole big mouthful that they shovel down. Slow it down, guys, and you'll be successful with this. Slow it way down and keep it that way. Don't give up. Don't do this for one day and say, oh, I can't do this anymore. This is just ridiculous. Don't do that. Do it and keep at it. And become very, very in tune. Become just be in harmony with the universe, in harmony with how your stomach feels. And you'll find that the more you practice at this, the easier it'll become, and it'll become ingrained in the end. And you'll find that after 2 or 3 years, you'll be the thin guy for the first, or the thin woman for the first time in your life. You'll be able to fit in the dresses that you haven't fit in for 30 years. Bye-bye and have a great day, guys.